I began noticing subtle changes in Sandra months before the reunion was even mentioned. Nothing glaring, just little shifts. She started staying at work later than usual and seemed glued to her phone the moment she walked through the door. She'd sit beside me on the couch, face glowing from the screen, typing quickly, smiling quietly. But never at me. At first, I dismissed it. We all need distractions now and then, I told myself. Maybe she was just catching up with friends or decompressing after work. It wasn't worth making a fuss over. So I let it slide. Then she began talking about her upcoming college reunion. Just in passing, nothing serious. It's been a decade, Danny, she said one evening, chopping vegetables like it was any other night. Everyone's getting together. Should be fun. I nodded, said it sounded like a good time. She smiled, but her eyes were far away. In the following weeks, that reunion became her focus. She bought new clothes, experimented with different hairstyles, scheduled appointments she usually couldn't be bothered with, not even for our anniversary. One evening, as she chatted animatedly about someone she used to know, I said, "You're really going all out for this, huh?" She gave a small laugh and said, "I just want to look nice. It's been a while." I smiled back, but it felt forced. I asked if she wanted me to come along. Her fork paused in mid-A, just for a second. "It's just my old friends," she said. "You'd probably be bored." That stung more than I let on. As if spending time with me was something tedious. I brushed it off, blaming it on nostalgia or nerves. But deep down, something shifted. The night of the reunion, she descended the stairs like someone reborn. She wore a navy dress I'd never seen before. Her makeup was flawless, her heels high, her presence dazzling. "Wow," I said, taken aback. "You look incredible." She didn't even look at me. "Thanks," she said, adjusting an earring in the mirror. I tried again. "You sure you don't want me to come?" She paused, barely, but I saw it. "It's just old friends," she repeated, grabbing her clutch. "You'd be bored." I nodded, pretending to be fine. But when the door shut behind her, I grabbed my keys and followed. She drove across town to a familiar bar. I parked nearby, staying out of sight. It didn't take long before he appeared. David, a name I vaguely remembered from her college days. The way she lit up when she saw him told me everything I needed to know. They hugged, close and lingering. Talked at the bar, heads leaned in, hands brushing. Her touch on his arm was too familiar. About an hour later, they stepped outside. I kept my distance, blending into the shadows. Beneath the dim glow of a streetlight, he pulled her in and kissed her, not a brief farewell, but a deep, slow, practiced kiss. One that said this wasn't new. Calmly, I took a few pictures, documenting what I already knew. When they drove off together, I sat in silence, watching their taillights vanish. I didn't feel anger. Just clarity. The late nights, the secretive phone habits, it all made sense now. I drove home in silence. No music. Just the steady hum of the engine and the image of her in his arms stuck in my mind. When I stepped through the front door, everything looked the same. Her coat still hung by the door. The light on the porch still glowed. But everything felt hollow. Like she'd already left. I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through the photos again. Her expression said it all. The joy, the ease, the intimacy. You can justify a lot. Late nights. Texting. Old friendships. But not that kiss. I didn't confront her. I didn't need to. She'd already made her choice. She just hadn't said it out loud. She stumbled in at dawn, barefoot, her makeup smeared, her hair a mess. She didn't even notice me standing at the top of the stairs. Dropped her keys, kicked off her heels, collapsed on the couch like nothing had happened. I watched her for a long time before turning around and going back upstairs. I wasn't heartbroken. I was certain. This marriage wasn't just damaged, it was over. But I didn't walk away right then. That would have been too simple. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she threw away. Over the next few days, I made quiet preparations. Found a small, furnished apartment on the other side of town. Opened a new bank account. Rerouted my paychecks. Moved carefully, silently, unnoticed. Meanwhile, Sandra carried on like before, still feeding me lies about late meetings and girls' nights. still smiling at her screen, thinking I was none the wiser. One evening over dinner, she was sipping wine, scrolling through her phone between bites. I said, "I thought I saw someone who looked like David the other day." Calm, casual, as I cut into my food. She froze, just briefly. "David?" she repeated, feigning surprise. "Haven't seen him in ages." I nodded and kept eating. I didn't need her to admit it. I already knew. That moment sealed it. The truth wasn't in her words. It was in everything she hadn't said. I dabbed at a spill with a napkin, keeping my tone easy. "He wasn't at the reunion." She shook her head quickly. "No, he wasn't there." I nodded slowly. "Right. Not the reunion. Just pressed up against you in a parking lot the other night." Still no reaction from her. No denial, no guilt, no anger. I didn't push. Just let the silence settle, letting her keep the safety of her lies for now. That weekend, while she was out, I packed what I needed. Clothes, papers, old photos. Everything else I left behind. The house had stopped feeling like a home. It was just space filled with furniture now. Before walking out for the last time, I took off my wedding ring and set it beside her half-finished glass of wine on the counter. No big scene, no yelling. Just a quiet, final gesture that said everything. When Sandra came home that night, she didn't notice anything right away. I watched from my car a few houses down. She got out, heels in one hand, phone in the other, laughing at something on the screen, completely unaware. She stepped inside and shut the door. Half a minute later, the porch light flicked on. The door swung open, and she came stumbling out, eyes scanning the yard like she thought I'd still be there, waiting. Like forgiveness might come on cue. But not that night. Not anymore. The calls started almost immediately. My phone. My work line. Then my brother Christopher's. I ignored them all. Let her walk through the hollow shell of our home, room to room, realizing what had already slipped through her fingers. Later, Christopher called. "Want me to handle this?" he asked, hearing her pounding on his front door. "I'll take care of it," I said. When I pulled up to his place, she was standing there on the porch, hugging herself, makeup streaked, eyes puffy. "Danny," she said, voice trembling. "Please. Just talk to me." I stayed near the car, studying her. "You lied," I said. "Over and over. And you actually thought I wouldn't figure it out." She shook her head, frantic. "It was a mistake. It meant nothing." I let out a short, cold laugh. "You kissed him like you were 17. Got in his car and vanished for the night. That's not a mistake. That's a choice." Tears rolled down her face. "I love you," she whispered. "No," I said. "You loved the version of me that still trusted you." She grabbed at my jacket like she thought she could still hold on, but I stepped back. "You lost," I said softly. "You just didn't realize it until it was too late." Then I turned, got into my car, and left her standing in the glow of the porch light. Alone. Right where she belonged. The new apartment wasn't anything special. Second floor, decent view, quiet. But it was mine. No shared memories. No lingering pain. Just a fresh start. The next morning, I mailed the divorce papers. No long message. No reaction expected. I didn't need one. Sandra tried everything. Calls, messages, surprise visits to Christopher's. My response never changed. Silence. The divorce was clean. No arguments about who got what. I let her keep everything. The house, the furniture, even the framed photos still hanging on the walls. I didn't want any of it. I just wanted my peace. A couple weeks later, an old friend, Mark, called. He never picked sides. "You hear about Sandra?" he asked. "No," I said. He hesitated. "She's not doing well. Not working. Barely leaves the house. Mostly stays in bed, from what people say." I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. She lit the match. I just stepped back and let the fire do what it would. Not long after that, the divorce papers came back. Her signature was shaky, like it took everything in her to finish. No note. No final appeal. Just a quiet, complete end. Friends checked in. Christopher kept asking how I was holding up. But I wasn't falling apart. I wasn't angry. I felt lighter. Sandra stayed where she was. Big house. Empty closets. Wine-stained carpet. A monument to what she let die. Mark said she tried dating again, but nothing stuck. Probably because it wasn't really about finding someone new. It was about losing someone who once gave her everything. I didn't need revenge. Or some dramatic closure. Her life was its own aftermath. Every morning she woke up in that house meant for two, she felt it. Sometimes I'd sit out on my little balcony with a beer, watching the morning light stretch across the city, thinking about the man I used to be, the one who waited up late, still believing love could outrun betrayal. I didn't hate him. He just hadn't learned yet. Sometimes, it takes losing the wrong person to finally recognize your worth. Sandra's real mistake wasn't the kiss or the lies or the night in that car. It was assuming I'd still be there when she decided to come back. But I wasn't. And for the first time in years, I was already gone. Free. Whole.